Welcome to the SAFeTy Chronicles, exploring how to keep people and pets safe from the cycle of interpersonal violence. I am your host, Allie Phillips, founder and CEO of Sheltering Animals and Families Together, the SAFeTy Program, a nonprofit organization working with domestic violence shelters to eliminate the pet housing barrier to safety. As the founder, I have led the global movement in helping domestic violence shelters create on-site pet housing while elevating the criminal justice response to how animal abuse links to crimes against people. I am a former prosecuting attorney, internationally recognized legal expert and public speaker, award-winning author, and advocate for protecting vulnerable victims. In this podcast, we will explore how and why animals are harmed in the cycle of family violence and the human-animal bond that keeps victims in harm's way with their pets. Guest speakers and I will share strategies for shelters and professionals working to safeguard survivors, why pet-inclusive sheltering is life-saving, and safety tips for those who need help. None of the content will be graphic. If you are in harm's way, please contact your nearest domestic violence shelter or call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And I am finally all set up in my new office in the new location that I moved to here in Michigan. So we are in Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is October 2025. And while I am doing an entire series on my social media pages about the link between violence to animals and people, I wanted to come in and do a series on recovery, resiliency, empowerment, and how you can empower yourself when life gets tough. So this is the first of a series on that. And I don't know how many of these I'm going to do, but I'm doing this for the benefit of domestic violence survivors, whether they are still in an abusive home or they have escaped. I am doing this for the benefit of shelter staff and volunteers. I am doing this for the benefit of any stressed out professional or anybody who just happens to listen to this. I have had what I call an energy wellness business since April 2011. So for over 14 years. I have 10 different energy certifications and coaching certifications. And in that business, it's called Manifested Harmony. I see what disempowerment can do to people, especially women. I see what disempowerment can do to those who are in harm's way or have stressful professional jobs or are struggling with the chaos and changes in our society. I have been teaching about all of this for over 14 years, and I want to share that information in this series. So while it may seem like it's a bit off topic for this podcast, it's really not. Because if you let's just say you are in an abusive relationship. You can get yourself into shelter with your pet. Then what? You don't want to keep replicating the same history. And that's unfortunately what I see in a lot of domestic violence situations. I never want to see a survivor get back into another abusive relationship. So that's why I want to talk about what you can do, easy things that you can do, and I want to share it here. So to kind of kick us off, women are taught to put others first at an early age. We really are. And when you are coming from an abusive environment or a very stressed out career, that is going to be intensified because you may feel the duty to help others at your expense. You may feel the duty to help others stay safe, and it could harm you in the process. And this is particularly true if you have children or pets or other family that is in harm's way, you can fall into learned helplessness as a response to the trauma that you are experiencing. And when you are constantly caretaking others, or you are fending off abuse or being worn down by an abusive partner, you can become weary, apathetic, exhausted. And it's difficult to help yourself when you get to that point. As soon as we find comfort in apathy, that is when your freedom is lost. And it can be really challenging to empower yourself and pull yourself out of that. It's actually quite easy to disempower a person. Maybe you have experienced this in a relationship or in a career. I experienced it in my career as a prosecutor. Being a young female prosecutor back in the mid 1990s, I experienced a lot of disempowerment by men, but I was strong enough to not let it get to me. But I saw it happen to other colleagues. But this disempowerment that can happen, it happens slowly. It's like a drip in your bathroom sink. Drip, drip, drip. You may not know what is happening because it's so slow and it's so quiet. But once it happens long enough or it picks up speed, that's when you notice. But usually you're pretty worn down, defeated, depleted, and drained at that point. I see this in my legal work with domestic violence survivors who dismiss the mildly abusive and controlling behavior of their partner. They dismiss it as, well, they're having a bad day. They're having a tough time at work. We're having money problems. They're getting over an addiction. I need to be patient. Drip, drip, drip. And when it becomes extreme, you've been conditioned to accept it. It's called learned helplessness. And now we are living in a society where we're being dripped on year after year after year with really stressful, chaotic things happening. And I see people becoming more disempowered by the day. And when we are weary and worn down, drained, depleted, defeated, that's when big moves can be made, and we simply do not have the strength to fight back. That's when an abuser can come in and make the move. That's when a toxic boss can demote you, fire you, berate you, and you don't have the strength to fight back. The antidote to all of that is empowerment. And here's the thing, there is nothing that I can say or do or anyone else can say or do to empower you. This comes from within you. You just simply have to make a decision that enough is enough. Okay, I just had a flashback to the Barbra Streisand, Donna Summer song from, what was that, late 80s, early 90s? Okay, I'm a Gen Xer. So enough is enough. If you don't know what that song is, just go online and Google it and listen to it. It is empowering. And here's the thing, when you decide to empower yourself, you will be more effective in staying safe, keeping your kids safe, keeping your pets safe, finding safe housing, making good decisions, finding work that is beneficial for you. Because what you're doing is you're taking care of yourself first. When you take care of your body, mind, and spirit first, you will have the strength and ability to help others, like your kids, your pets, your family, because you will be empowered. It's hard to care for others when you're so depleted and defeated. So what can you do right now if you're feeling disempowered, if you're feeling helpless, if you're feeling hopeless, if you are in an abusive relationship and you don't know how to leave, if you are in an abusive employment situation with toxic coworkers and toxic bosses, if you just feel trapped and you're like, Allie, I don't know what to do. Let me give you some ideas. Number one, first and foremost, just make a decision that things are going to change. Okay? That is so important. Okay? Make a decision. But let's talk about We're going to talk body, mind, spirit. Okay, what can you do for your body? Get moving. Go for a walk. Put your feet on the ground. There is an entire uh, realm of science called earthing, that when you put your bare feet on the ground, you are doing an ion exchange. And it's anti-inflammatory and it's very calming. It's very grounding. When you're all up here in your thoughts, and basically your thoughts are just swirling into worst case scenario and all the fear, go put your feet on the ground. Go for a walk in nature. Let the sun shine on you. Let the wind blow your hair and blow your concerns right out of your mind. Nature is deeply healing. It is really important to tap into it every day, even in winter. So I live in Michigan, and we tend to have about 5, sometimes 6 months of cold, gray weather. I'm still out in the snow. Okay, so tap into it every day. When you can connect to the earth has her own frequency. And when you can connect with the earth's frequency, you will feel stronger. You will feel healthier. You will feel calmer. Okay, let's talk about your mind. You have not always felt disempowered, helpless, hopeless, defeated, drained, depleted. As children, I don't know any children that feel that. Even if they are in a difficult environment, I really don't know children that feel that. We didn't grow up feeling that way. So I want you to remember the times when you were strong, when you were resilient, when you were empowered. Like I look at kids, they are so freakishly resilient. They really are. We need to be more childlike. Sometimes as adults, we just adult way too much. We are too serious. Okay? But I want you to think back to a time when you were strong, when you were resilient, and when you were empowered. Because if you did it once, you can do it again. But I also want you to speak positivity to yourself. I want you to speak life into yourself to lift yourself up. Words have tremendous power. Okay, I could like go into all of these studies about, you can look it up yourself. Dr. Emoto, Emoto, wrote these books and did all these scientific studies of how he and his students would speak into water. And they would literally change the structure of water when they spoke negatively and spoke words of anger and rage. The molecules of the water looked really morphed. But when they spoke empowerment, love, strength, the structure of the water under a microscope looked like beautiful snowflakes. Okay? And this is why you have to speak positively to yourself. Even if nobody else is, you do it. You do it. Okay? You got to speak life into yourself to lift yourself up. If you speak harshly to yourself, if you berate yourself, if you have low self-worth, if you do not love yourself, you are doing yourself a tremendous disservice and you cannot empower yourself. And I will tell you, a toxic boss, a toxic friend, a toxic coworker, and a toxic partner is going to they are going to make a beeline for you because you're weak. You have to strengthen yourself. So if you speak harshly to yourself, I want you to flip this around. Because would you ever do that to a 3-year-old child that you meet in the grocery store? Would you ever say the words that you say to yourself to that 3-year-old child? Would you say it to the 3-year-old version of yourself? Of course not. So stop doing it. Speak life, speak positivity to yourself. Okay, we've covered body, we've covered mind, let's cover spirit. Whether you like to pray or meditate, do something that connects you so that you have faith over fear. One of my favorite sayings, that even when things are going wrong, and there's some crazy stuff happening in our world right now, don't even get me going on that. But I always come back to the mantra, it always works out because it always has. I've had difficult things happen in my life. I've had job loss. I've had financial concerns. I've had health issues. I've had to care for my parents as they died. And some days I thought, I can't do this. I'm not going to survive this. But I would always tell myself, it always works out because it always has. Okay? Just keep telling yourself that. If you are listening to this, it has always worked out for you because it always has. Okay. Now, other things that I like to do, and I teach this extensively, you can go on to my YouTube page for my business. Just go to youtube.com/manifestedharmony. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free classes on there and information because I personally love to smell essential oils. And do I have an essential oil? I do not. I can't believe it. I can't. Where are they? Where are they? I'm in my office. I haven't even put them in here. I love to smell essential oils. I'm going to talk more about that later as I go through this series. I love to hold crystals. Okay, this is labradorite. Oh my gosh, how I love labradorite. It flashes these beautiful colors. I love to hold crystals because both of these are frequency tools. Okay, they have a frequency to them that raise us up. I'm not going to get into the physics principles of how frequency works. Just trust me. Smell an essential oil. If you have crystals, hold them, put them in your pocket throughout the day and let them shift your frequency. So I hope these ideas help you. These are easy things that you can do right now, but please come back for this series. Share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers, because even if you and they are not a survivor of domestic violence, maybe they're in a stressful relationship, maybe they're having financial stress, medical stress, they're having stress with their kids, maybe they're in a toxic work environment. Everyone can benefit from the information that I'm going to share in this series because we should be living empowered lives. Okay, we're given one life. Nobody can live it for us. We should find as much as possible ways to empower ourselves and find joy in the day. Okay? All right. Thanks for tuning in, and please come back to the next one. I'm going to keep sharing more information. If you are in harm's way and need help, please visit the Pet Inclusive Shelter listing at SAFeTyProgram.org, call your nearest domestic violence shelter, or call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Want to support our efforts and help us keep the Safety Startup Manual free for domestic violence shelters? Consider donating at SAFeTyProgram.org/donate. Your donation saves lives.